Welcome to the Navigating Magic podcast, where we explore the interplay between intuition, spiritual health, and your superconscious through conversations, interviews, and storytelling. Natasha teaches you how to generate change through your attention to energies, truths, and processes that are invisible to others. Together, we will explore the interplay between alchemy, astrology, and theurgy. I'm your host, Natasha Andreo. It's 2024 and I cannot believe that I managed to score the time and the energy of Kristina Hollinger, who happens to be a modern feng shui consultant, an author, and who's also been featured on HGTV. So welcome, Kristina. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Natasha, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to spend time with you. This is my first guest interview of 2024, so it's always exciting to have a fresh start, and it's great to be here.
Of course. Now, I know in some circles, I'd love to know your take on this. Like the new year doesn't technically start until whether it be the first new moon of the year or whether it be the lunar new year with the Chinese New Year. What's your take on that?
I know there's so much, and actually, I love astrology, and I have a lot of friends who are astrologers, and they would also say that the new year doesn't even start until Aries season.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, April. But I personally love to celebrate, of course, the traditional New Year. I always just celebrate that with my family, and I'd still like to partake in the vision boarding and all of that stuff. I'm actually going to an event tomorrow in Chicago to do like a community vision boarding experience with some breath work. But to your point, I have to admit, the Lunar New Year is the ultimate start to my year because it's a really auspicious time to set your intentions and to welcome money into your life and into your home. So I celebrate the Lunar New Year with some very specific rituals, and it changes each year, the date. And so this year in 2024, the Lunar New Year is on February 10th. So on February 9th, Lunar New Year's Eve, that's when I will be doing a lot of my traditional rituals to call in money energy, as well as just good luck and prosperity for the year of the wood dragon, which is what we're heading into. But right now we're still in the yin water rabbit.
Yes, we are. And I think we'll talk a little bit about your upcoming course to helping people how to attract and receive money into the new Lunar New Year. So, which I'm very excited for. So I know you're releasing that on the 8th of January. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's something that I've been practicing now for 8 years. I'm going into my ninth year of doing it for my personal, experience and benefit, but I've been teaching it now for 3 years. So really cool. But I want your listeners to like get a lot of goodness from this conversation. And usually I consider myself like a practical feng shui practitioner in the sense that I like to give simple modern methods that you can just apply like literally after our conversation. So like I hope that I can bring your listeners some understanding of why feng shui is this really cool manifesting tool, and then also give them something practical that they could try. I don't know what's going to come out of this conversation. There's so much that we could talk about, so I'm sure we'll give them something that they can try as early as today if they want.
Absolutely. I would love to start at the beginning. So, life, before feng shui, and then when you found it, and obviously what happened in like internally, but obviously externally around you with the manifestations that came to light once you started making changes and adaptations in the home.
Mm-hmm. So I am 39 right now, so I'll be 40 in October. And when I discovered feng shui, I was actually 27 years old. It was 2012, and I was living in the South Loop of Chicago with my new husband. At the time, we had just gotten married. And I would like to say that from the ages of 0 to 27, I was an unconscious empath in the sense that like I was really sensitive to other people's energy. And I was also really sensitive to the energy of my environment. It was always impacting me, and I was always absorbing other people's energy, but I had no idea that that was what was going on and that I was carrying that heaviness around with me for 27 years. So essentially, I discovered Feng Shui by accident. I had just gotten married and I was looking around our apartment and I just felt like it was really stark and it needed some updating. And I grew up in a holistic home. My mom is a chiropractor and she sort of introduced this concept of Feng Shui to me. So I decided I would Google it. And as I was updating my apartment, I decided to apply some manifesting magic. And ultimately, here's what happened. I started by applying Feng Shui to our entryway and our bedroom because those are the most important areas to start with Feng Shui. And then I also discovered the Bagua map, which is what really drew me into Feng Shui. And I realized that we had a wealth area in our home. And so, of course, at that point in my life, I really wanted more money. And I thought that having more money would solve the world's problems in our life. So I activated the wealth area as well, naturally. And what actually ended up happening is after I applied Feng Shui to our entryway, our bedroom, and our wealth area, within 6 months, my husband was unexpectedly promoted. We found out we were having our first baby and we bought our first house with grace and ease. And I like to stress that that was a really huge miracle at the time because we didn't have like a nest egg or any reason why it should be easy to buy a house. And we were actually able to do it quite fairly easily. And that was truly the beginning of my Feng Shui journey. And I just want to kind of round out the story by sharing that, I started my career in education. I was a teacher for 10 years. And so the teacher in me wanted to teach other people how to manifest more money. And so that's initially why I got certified to become a Feng Shui practitioner, because I just wanted to teach others about it. And fast forward now over 10 years later, and here I am teaching other people about it. And really happy to share how Feng Shui continues to improve my life and then help others do the same.
Of course, it's amazing. I guess like naturally when you experience the results yourself, that you just want to share this with others. That's a beautiful testament
Mm-hmm.
to the magic that it contains.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know your experience with the Bagua map. So talk to me a little bit about how that can be applied to really any a home or an office space, and the little changes that you can start implementing in order to receive, like start experiencing the changes.
Mm-hmm. I love this question because the Feng Shui Bagua map is what drew me into this manifesting wisdom, this manifesting magic, however you want to look at it. And I also want to let your listeners know that I practice BTB school Feng Shui. And I think this is really important because when I first started Feng Shui, I would just Google all these different things. And what you end up doing when you Google Feng Shui and the Bagua map is you're going to notice that there's different schools of Feng Shui. So there's some practitioners who are going to use the Bagua map and apply it using the compass directions. And that's a traditional method and it's a little more complex. However, I practice BTB school Feng Shui. And with this type of Feng Shui, it was brought to the United States in the 1980s by Professor Lin Yun. And it's always using your front door for a point of reference. Now I'll slow down and I'll back up a little bit. The Bagua map separates your home into 9 areas of life. So essentially, you can identify which rooms in your home correlate to certain areas of life. So for example, you have a wealth area, you have a relationship area of your home, you have a career area of your home, etc. There's 9 areas. And basically, what I would love to share with your listeners, because I think a lot of people want to know, like, for example, I started with my wealth area. So, like, where's your money area, right? So when you walk into your home, I'm just going to give you a practical example. When you walk into your home, think about the main level. So if you live in a multi-level home, just think about the main floor. When you walk into the front door, the far back left area of your home is the wealth area, and the far back right area is the relationship area of your home. And then the front center is the career area. So if you have the Bagel map, you can literally go to my site and get a free one instantly. I kind of like to like identify those key areas, because then it kind of helps you understand which areas of life are in different spaces of your home. Hopefully that helps. And hopefully that's easy. Once you actually see the Bagel map, it really can be easy to apply.
It really is. I'll share that I found feng shui, I think just under 10 years ago. And when I found out that the relationship sector of the home was the far right, I had read, I had bought a book and I'd Googled, and it said to add pink things and romantic things. And like before I had Googled it, I had one rose quartz crystal in that corner. And then I had read that one rose quartz crystal personifies love for self. But if you want to attract a partner, to get a second crystal to invite them into your life. And so I went to the markets, I bought a crystal. And so I had two rose quartz crystals, and it was there on the Sunday. And I met my now husband on the Wednesday. So I experienced fast
Wow.
ramifications.
It can happen that fast. I love that story. And I like now I have like dozens of stories like that from clients and students who have taken my programs. And it's so fun to hear because I would experience, I mean, that's like the story of my life. I feel like the past 10 years, it's like these things just happen and it's like miracles are natural now. But it's so fun hearing your experience, and you're totally accurate with what you shared. Like listeners could literally do that adjustment today if they wanted to. I love that.
Course. Talk to me about clutter and sensitivity around it, because I think I resonate with you when you said you're energetically sensitive to your environment and I guess people around you, like being a natural born empath. Talk to me about what happens in a cluttered environment, what that represents, and how it can manifest into other areas of your life.
I think this is a really interesting question because if we really think about it, Feng Shui has been around for over 2,000, 3,000 years. And clutter is a fairly new concept to our modern society because we are in a consumer age where you can just click a button and things get delivered to your home instantly. And we're just always, buying the next fast fashion and things like that. And so clutter is this newer concept that I think that a lot of feng shui practitioners have adopted, like this concept of like everything has energy. So clutter is going to represent something in feng shui, but it's like, again, more of a modern notion of how clutter is connected with the practice of feng shui. But to answer your question, what I like to do with clutter, I mean, here's the thing. If your listeners do go to my site and they get like my free mini course with the Bagel map, it's like I have a 3-step method in applying feng shui. And the first step is to get familiar with the Bagel map. The second step is to apply the elements, kind of how you just described, like in the relationship area, you want to activate it with pairs of objects or the earth element. And then my third step is to declutter with intention. And this is how you can really actually clutter tells a story. And this is how you can use this method to like understand what your home is telling you and how it represents, how it manifests in your life essentially. So what I like to ask my one-on-one clients or my students is, when you look at your home, is there a room in your home that you avoid? Is there a room in your home that's sort of the catch-all that tends to you just throw stuff in that room? Or even is there a corner of a certain room that tends to get more cluttered than other areas of that bedroom, right? because you can actually lay the Bagua map just on your bedroom. So like when you enter your bedroom, the far back left area of your personal bedroom is the wealth area. And the far back right area of your personal bedroom is the relationship area. And so like as you ask yourself these questions, you can kind of like even your garage, if your garage is attached to your home, that's included in your floor plan and that's included in the Bagua map. So for example, like my helpful people travel area and my children creativity area are in my garage. So like, is your garage cluttered? Is there an area of your garage that just has things piled up? And if so, how is that a reflection of, any challenges or blocks that you might be experiencing in that area of life? And the best part about Feng Shui is that you can not only identify where you have blocks and limitations in your life because of clutter, the best part is like, then once you identify the challenge, you have the opportunity to change the narrative and change the story. So if you have clutter in the children creativity area, for example, you know that that could be impacting your children's self-confidence. It could be a block with your inner child and healing that you have maybe obstacles with your inner child. And by clearing, and finally, it could also be a creative block. So if you're a writer or creative for any reason, you want to pay attention to children creativity. So by clearing that clutter in that particular room or that area, you're actually going to make space for miracles and clarity in that part of your life.
That's incredible. It's so amazing seeing the symbolism and the literal metaphor that starts to be experienced in our lives. A couple of years ago, my husband and I were house hunting, and naturally we'd look at houses. And because I was familiar with Feng Shui, I'd always say we need a house that's either square or rectangular shaped. And I remember vividly walking into one house, and it was an L-shaped house. So a whole section of the house was missing. And when I applied the Bagua map, it was the children's area that was completely missing. And we were talking to the realtor and asking them, oh, why are they selling? And they said, oh, the couple got married. It was a 4-bedroom home and they've been married for 10 years and they don't have kids. So they're downsizing. And I just would, I'd see the photo frames on the wall. There's lots of adults, like family members and the couple photos, but no children photos. And I just couldn't help but think their children's sector of the Bagua map was missing. And unfortunately, they weren't able to have children of their own. And like my heart broke in a way because I just wish more people knew about this. And like this should be a subject taught in schools.
Yes, of course it is. And I really would love to comment on this because this is so important. I actually had clients that came to me for this very reason. They were having trouble conceiving and they actually were missing the relationship area of the home. And it sounds like the way that you described the L shape, they were probably also missing the relationship area of the home. And that area represents the female energy of the house. So what we did was we did an energetic remedy. It's energetic, so it's invisible. You don't even see it. We did an energetic remedy to close off that missing piece. So that was no longer missing. And they successfully conceived and had a child 1 year after the consultation. And I also want to comment because your listeners listening, I also want to say, like, I've seen hundreds and almost thousands now floor plans. And it's very rare that someone lives in a perfectly square shaped or rectangular shaped home. So I just want to comment that, like, this is why I do one-on-one consultations, or this is why I have programs like my 12-month manifesting journey, because so many people have like either a missing piece or sometimes they even have extensions, which is really good luck. Actually, you have like an extension in a home, in part of your home. But that being said, like, it's nothing to fear. Having a missing piece is quite common. And there's also so many things that you can do to remedy and fix it. And so again, just kind of like thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to share with listeners, like, Feng Shui is nothing to fear. Like, I always like to say, in Feng Shui, there's always a cure, So if you are missing that area, and I do wish more people knew about it because it's truly life-changing.
Yeah, it really is. We ended up buying a house, and I still pinch myself at this silly mistake I did, knowing everything I know about feng shui. I think it was the desperation of getting married and being a perfectionist, needing to have the house before we got married. We bought a house in a cul-de-sac, and the house was literally at the circle bit of the cul-de-sac, so it was literally a dead end. And I remember telling the sales agent, it can't be in the middle. Oh, I didn't want it to be in the middle, and he said, okay, well, you're on the edge of it. I said, yep, that's okay. And I was just like, I dissed what I knew because I thought we'll be right. But as soon as we moved into this house, it was a brand new home. It was, the home itself was beautiful, everything we needed and wanted. But I can't tell you how many blocks we experienced in this home. Every time
Mm.
furniture arrived, dining table was broken. Second one was also broken. We got a third one that was also cracked. Two times I received this desk, crack in it. We received a brand new bed and it had mold in it. And just energetically, it was just my husband and I. We were newlyweds and we were happy, in ourselves, but just externally, we just felt so many blocks. And then we had this fence issue that it took a year and a half almost to get resolved. And I just felt it was very slow. And I tried to remedy the front door, but I just knew that outside the home, I wanted to put a water feature in there, but we ended up selling the home because I just did not, I couldn't stand the energy anymore.
Mhm. That is tricky. And I think I'm very grateful that I found Feng Shui before we purchased our houses because it does make a difference when I'm home shopping. I'm totally looking at the Bagua map, and I'm also noticing, like, we almost decided to do new construction in our home,
Mm.
or for the house that we are currently, we're living in a home that we love. It's not new construction, but we explored new construction. And I think it's really helpful, like, even with new construction homes, usually they have like 3 or 4 different models that you can choose from. And it's pretty clear which models are going to be best for the family dynamics. And it's also really clear which house layouts are going to be best for your financial, not only your financial prosperity and abundance, like being able to bring money in, but there's certain key elements of a floor plan that are going to show that you're going to be able to save money with more ease. And so all of the things that you're sharing, I think it's very interesting. And I think, there's probably things that maybe could have been done if like a professional practitioner was able to go to your home and help you with it. But the fact that you moved and you got something that was better suited for you is great too, so fascinating.
Yeah. I think you feel it in as soon as you walk into a home, you know whether it's a right fit or not.
Absolutely. And I'd also like to say, like, who knows, like, what was going on when you purchased the house? Like, so in Feng Shui, we work with 3 types of energy. Personal energy. So knowing that when we balance our own personal energy, that's why I have some like guided meditations for manifesting and things. When we balance our own personal energy, we become a magnet for what we desire. And also personal energy is how other people's energy can influence us. So that's what I teach my students to do in the 12-month manifesting journey, like how to protect your personal energy so you can be in your own energy. The second type of energy we work with is the environmental. So that's how your environment directly influences you, which is what we've been talking about. But then the third type of energy in Feng Shui that we pay attention to is the universal energy, which you and I kind of already started talking about, which is if it's a new moon or a full moon, if it's the Lunar New Year, if it's a Mercury retrograde. So part of me is just curious to know, like, there's a lot of things that could have played into when you bought the house. Like, was it a Mercury retrograde? So many different things can influence can influence you. And I actually, this is why I get so excited when we're heading into a new year when it comes to the Chinese zodiac. Right now we're in the year of the yin water rabbit. And it's really nice to know that this was a great year to like go within and to really do a lot of spiritual work and like to not take action and to rest. And then now we're going into a yang year with the year of the wood dragon. And that's, 2024 year of the dragon is going to be a great year to take action, to, double down on your investments, to create opportunities and potentially purchase that new home, right? So I'm not saying, I have no idea when you bought your home, but it's just, to me, what came through was like, there's so many factors that can play into all the things that you experienced. And I think it's really awesome though, that like, you're just so aware of it. And like, you kind of look back on it and it helped you to make a new choice when you bought your next home.
Oh, of course. And you don't make the same mistake twice, or not that big.
Yeah.
Now, talk to me about the year of the dragon. I think I have heard that the year of the dragon is considered one of the luckiest years, and dragon babies in particular are considered to be very, very fortunate and blessed.
Mhm.
All babies are fortunate and blessed, but there's a special twist, I guess, to identifying with being a dragon.
Right. Well, okay. So let's talk a little bit about the year of the dragon because it's a big one. Being in the year of the yin water rabbit, I think we can't talk about where we're going without really just taking a moment to reflect on where we've been. And the year of the water rabbit was truly a year of going within. And if you follow numerology, it was a 7 numerology year. And it's all about spirituality. And it's about really connecting with ourselves and slowing down. And I think some people who didn't realize that might be feeling frustrated because some of your efforts in 2023, you might have felt a sense of like you needed to work twice as hard to get basic results, because the flow of 2023 wasn't to hustle and it wasn't to grind and it wasn't to push and force outcomes. It was truly to look back on the last 4 years and think, because the way that the lunar new year works and the Chinese zodiac works is that we're in a cycle. It started in 2020 with the year of the rat. And so as we move through, the year of the rabbit is like the 4th year of the cycle. So it's kind of like it was a year just to kind of look back on the past 4 years and think like, is this still working for me? Is what I wanted 4 years ago what I still want now? And kind of just like reassess. So if you were kind of plunging forward in 2023 without really pausing, you might feel a little bit, depleted. But I think what ended up happening is naturally there was a little bit of a pause in 2023 for a lot of people personally. And so I think a lot of people now are ready for this active yang energy that 2024 dragon is bringing us. And so numerology wise, Felicia Bender is like the in-house numerologist for the Astro Twins. She's my personal numerologist. She's been on my podcast numerous times, and I love numerology. So I do pull it into my readings and how I perceive the year. But we're moving into an 8 year, according to numerology, in 2024. 8 is the number of money in numerology and in Feng Shui. So in Feng Shui, we look at the 8 and it's the circle. It's the infinity sign when you kind of flip it to the side, right? And it's all about giving and receiving. And the big lesson for 2024, Year of the Dragon, is that we're going to need to give in order to receive. And if we hold too tightly to our money and our finances, then we are going to block the flow of receptivity. And it doesn't mean like give all your money away in 2024. But what it means is, this is what I like to teach my students in the 12-month manifesting journey. We have several months where we really just focus on money. And in the money months, here's like kind of like my mantra. I say, okay, this is the month to round up. And here's what I mean by that. Like, have you ever gone to a grocery store or checked out at a a clothing store, and they ask if you would like to round up for like a donation for, St. Jude Hospital, or, something like a local shelter. Even like pet stores do this. The answer is yes, right? Like, sure, I'll round up the high, I'll give a quarter to St. Jude. I'll give a quarter or round up, right? So it's the year to round up. Or if you have a coffee shop that you go to, you don't have to tip your barista every time, but like make it a point, like every Friday or once a month, I'm going to like give a little tip to my baristas because they're always taking care of me. It's those little things. I'm not saying like, again, it's not like go ahead and spend hundreds of dollars in 2024, like giving away all your money. I'm just saying it's those little micro gestures in 2024 that are going to help you kind of open up to the flow of abundance, because money is a big theme in 2024. And I think a lot of people are excited for that, right? Because we think, the money, it's coming finally. And it's true. The year of the dragon, hard work is rewarded, and it's rewarded through recognition, and you'll be rewarded through money. However, we also have to look at the flip side that like there's also going to be lessons in money. So one of the lessons is when you always give, you always have. So just kind of remember that flow of abundance. And secondly, a lesson that the dragon is going to be teaching us is, you don't want to get burnt out either. And if I could speak to that too, if you want. I just feel like I just said a lot there though, so I'll pause.
No, I think it's really interesting to hear, because I guess subconsciously we're living out these themes without being aware of it. And so I just think you're so much more empowered once you are bringing it to your conscious awareness, because then you know how to make the move. Like I know, like I'm an astrologer, so Fridays it's ruled by Venus, and Venus rules money. Like money, it's Friday's the money day. So on Friday, like my husband and I have like money date nights, and we talk about our finances. We talk about what's our next move, and for us it's been like this ritual. And so hearing you talk about 2024 being the year of money, I'm just in my head going, oh, all these ideas are just coming to me as you're speaking. I'm like, I can't wait to implement it. And there's this natural, I guess, I know we're still a month away from February, but there's this natural urge to go, okay, how can I plan ahead? What can I do with this in order to utilize and I guess maximize this energy the most?
I love that. And I'm a Libra sun sign. So my Libra sun sign is ruled by Venus. And I didn't know that Friday is ruled by Venus. And Friday has always been my favorite day of the week.
There
It's
you
like the last day of the work week.
go.
And I'm also a North Node Taurus, which I think is also ruled by Venus,
It is.
right?
You are, yeah. I'm a Libra ascendant sign, so that explains our connection.
I love it. I'm a huge astrology junkie. Absolutely love it. And just, what I wanted to share with your listeners then, as far as like the year of the dragon and like, avoiding burnout. Um, I don't know if I said this, but the dragon's the only mystical creature in the Chinese zodiac. So all of the other animals in the Chinese zodiac are actual animals that exist in nature, except for the dragon. So this is a very mystical year. I think that that's why people say dragons have a lot of good luck and things, because you think about it, it's almost like they have these superpowers, these supernatural powers. So I think a lot of us are going to get some supernatural energy that we can really like apply ourselves in 2024 and like really show up and be seen in big ways and achieve miraculous things. However, in order to avoid the burnout, what I would recommend is truly following the moon signs. This is something that I have been doing, the moon cycles.
Of course.
And I've been doing this for years because I was born during a full moon, and my moon is in Aries, since I'm talking to an astrologer. So I have a lot of like Aries full moon energy where I'm always like wanting to hustle. That's my nature is to like want to be working and hustling. So the year of the rabbit really taught me a lot about how to like rest and go within, because there was a lot more of that in 2023 than ever before, at least from my own awareness, because I was consciously paying attention to it. And so for your listeners, like usually during the new moon is when it's the best time to go within because the sky is at its darkest. And so it's a great time to meditate, take walks in nature, take a bath or take an extra nap and really nurture yourself. And those cycles happen every month. So if you could really honor the new moon and not kind of push through that, I think that it's going to help you every month. If you really honor that new moon phase, I think it's going to help you to sustain your energy throughout 2024.
Absolutely. I think following the moon cycles has got to be one of the biggest like advancements, and I guess like even like on a vibrational scale for me, like ascending through life through applying, because I'm often getting text messages from people. It's like, oh, I'm really tired now. It's like, yeah, it's the new moon. It's natural to feel tired. This is your body's way of telling you to attune, like start listening to your body. Take that bath, have a nap. It's okay. You don't owe anyone anything. It's so important to start listening to these little nuances. It's I think Mother
Mhm.
Nature has so much to teach us, and we're only on the brink of I guess it depends on your circles. I guess, proximity has power. So the more you hang around and you're exposed to people, I guess like us, who talk about it, teach about it, it becomes more natural and normal in your world.
Absolutely. It's just funny because I just didn't I was just fixing my screen. I didn't really realize that about the moon cycles for a long time. So that's why I think it was just important for listeners to know, like in feng shui, we do really pay attention to that because you mentioned nature. And I think that's really where feng shui translates into wind and water. The wind is the invisible energy that we can't see, and there's a lot of invisible cures in feng shui that we do that you can't see, but they will be effective. And then the water is what we do see. It's the flow of, like, when we change the paintings on the wall or rearrange the furniture. But really, feng shui is about honoring nature and bringing the outside in and living in harmony with nature. And nature does not hustle and push. And humans have uh what's the word? I don't even know. Like, humans have sort of evolved into this species that is so disconnected from nature, in the sense that, like, I've learned about human design not too long ago. I think it's been 2 years since I've known that I'm a projector. And it's like, this is not a projector world. You are too. Projectors have a good 4 hours of focused energy to, like, show up, go on Zooms, teach a class and be, like, in connection with humans. And like, so, and like, we are really, when we're working with clients, we go deep. We and it's just amazing what we can do in a short amount of time. But you can't tell someone who hired you to work from 9 to 5 that you're a projector and you can't work that long, and you got to go back to your house and take a nap, meditate, journal, and, like, you know, um, do your tarot cards and do some research, because that's what projectors ultimately want to do. So anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent, but yeah, living in nature is the more I get into feng shui, the more I just want to not only align my home with nature, but also align my life with it and to honor my true nature. And that's what I think is the power of feng shui. It's like, you can learn about what works for you and change your environment, change your life, and just be more in flow with what works for you as an individual.
Absolutely. And I think, like, just touching on human design, like if you think about like, and you've got young kids, so you'd be able to speak more to this. Like you, I think we just have so many similarities. I think you're in parallel universe. We could be each other. I was also a teacher, a secondary school teacher, and I it really saddens me, and it's a trigger point for me, because young people especially, like, had we known we were projectors, in high school or during college, I think we would be different people now. Like, to find this in it, like to find human design in our 30s as opposed to being the teenager knowing this, I think it's impacted and affected the way that we live on so many levels. Like, have you looked up your children's human design? I'm curious.
So projectors make up 20% of the population. So I always think it's really neat when I find other projectors, and I've met a lot of other feng shui practitioners that happen to be projectors too. I think we're just because we're so sensitive to energy, not only to our environment, but other people's. But yeah, my family, it's like they range from like manifesting generators to maybe I have a generator in my family. I don't know for sure. I have to look at it. But yeah, it's different, right? Because manifesting generators have lots of unique interests, and my kids are involved in a lot of different sports and different activities. My husband wants to get them in all of the things. And I think it's actually pretty good for them. Whereas, as a projector, yeah, I agree with you. I think if I would have known this earlier, I can only imagine how it would have shaped how I do everything. So different.
But I guess it's so good to have that awareness of your children so you can, I guess, harness their energy and then only just enhance their interest in their life because they're living in alignment with their energy. Like to have a mother, a parent, family dynamic that's so aware and in tune with that, it's something that's admirable because we need more of this in our current society.
And I've said that too, that like feng shui has been one of the greatest gifts that I can give my kids. It's like pretty typical for them to see me do a little mini space clearing. Like I just took down our holiday decorations and I was like clapping along the walls and saging and doing all the things. And it's pretty typical and no one kind of scoffs at it. And I'm just so grateful though that I can clear and cleanse the energy so that we have this supportive sanctuary of home for our children, knowing how much my home was just total chaos growing up. And I just felt so bogged down by all of the negativity. I'm just grateful that I don't have to pass that on to my children. It's been very empowering for me. And I think it's helped me also to sort of in my adult life, I've healed so much generational trauma because I've been able to really harness the power of feng shui and create a more peaceful sanctuary again for myself and my kids.
Of course. You just reminded me, I saw an interview yesterday of Ed Milet. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Maybe
Um,
if I saw him.
yeah, he's an amazing inspirational speaker. And he was on, I think it was on his Instagram yesterday. He said, in every family, there is that one person that breaks the generational curses, the generational trauma. And that one person is the one that says no more. And they're the ones who are taking action. They're the ones who are implementing the changes and say, it stops with me. And you
Mm.
reminded me of that because I guess we're in this day and age now where, and I guess I'm seeing more women, especially, it's, I guess we've, for eons now, men have, it's been a patriarchal world, but I think now we're moving into more of it's the women, it's this feminine energy that's really, really making a mark and experiencing, I guess, the ramifications once we are empowered. We get results and we get them fast.
Could not agree more. It's a movement, and I like I said, I love to have astrologers on my podcast as well, and we've talked about already how Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and we know that we're going to be so much stronger in communities, and I'm seeing more and more communities of even conscious humans, so men and women, but also a lot of powerful women standing together in their light, and I do sense a shift happening,
So,
which
of
is exciting.
course, more of this, please.
Yes, please. Yes.
Now, talk to me about your 12-month manifesting course. Does it start at a particular time of the year, or is it always available for people to sign up?
So, I mean, if you wanted to join in the past, it was always open. And I've kind of reorganized the way that I'm doing it. And we are going to start fresh in February of 2024, which is going to be perfect timing for in alignment with the Lunar New Year. But so basically, in 2023, I had a group of about 30 women who took the 12-month manifesting journey. And I helped them to allow 2023 to be the year when it all finally came together for them. And the key word was allow, because it was the year of the yin water rabbit. Now moving into 2024, we have a little bit of a new mantra, a different mantra for the next group. And this is going to be the year to align with success and to reap the harvest. Because this is the year of reaping the harvest of all of the hard work, all the inner work that you've already done, and really watching it manifest into reality. So the program itself isn't like necessarily changing as far as the content that you're getting, but what is going to shift is that we meet monthly on a call. And so those calls are kind of where like the goodness happens, because that's where people in the group can ask specific questions about their specific floor plan. Or what I like to say to people is like, this is where you can bring your dilemmas. Like maybe you're having a challenge in your career or with your children or in your relationships. And it's not necessarily that you like, maybe you know you're missing the relationship area of your home or the wealth area. And that we can remedy, we could talk about on the call. But what about if you know that you're struggling in an area of your life, you're just like not sure how Feng Shui can fix it? Well, Feng Shui can fix anything. In Feng Shui, there's always a cure. So that's kind of where the diversity and the juiciness comes. I know that the next group that comes in 2024, it's going to just be like a unique, it's going to be a new group, a new cohort, and a unique vibe. But what I will say about the actual course itself is that, you know, each month you kind of, it's just so much. So I wanted to like space it out over the course of the year. So each month you get like a new video module with me. And then I have like bonus meditations and things like that, guest teachers that pop into your portal. But really what I love about it is like throughout the 12 months, you're going to get to go through all 9 areas of life. So we move through the Bagua map. Each month is a new month that we focus on. And what I also love about the 12-month manifesting journey is the first month is a focus on more abundance with Feng Shui. And I think this is so key for the year of the dragon, because since this is the year about money, the whole first month we focus heavily on money to set you up for the year, to like really make sure that you're bringing that in. So okay, that was a lot, but it's really it's one of my it's my biggest pride and joy. It's something that I've developed in addition to having one-on-one clients. This is like a way that people can work with me in like this group setting. And this will be the second year of the cohort. And it's just been a very special program. So thank you for allowing me to share that with people, because maybe they feel called to join.
I'm about to enter my personal 1 year. Well, I have. It's a week in to 2024. So it sounds like something that I should be doing. And I feel really, as you're talking, I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's literally like having your personal feng shui consultant once a month. Go in, ask your
Yeah.
questions, get the remedies. So it's just so enticing and inviting and so warranted right now. So I think sign me up.
Yeah. Well, you already know this because you're so familiar with numerology and astrology, but like the one is the year for career. So like you are going to like double down in the year of the dragon. This is a huge year for your career to expand, and then that money energy. So that's really exciting, you know. And I feel like the people who took the 12-month manifesting journey in the year of the yin water rabbit, they just kept coming back to, I'm so grateful that you kept reminding us of the universal energy, because you know, feng shui can't fix all of your problems or make them go away, unfortunately. But what feng shui can do is it can give you tools to address life's challenges as they come. And so that's why I feel like the 12-month manifesting journey is special, because it's like 2 reasons. Number one, I always say this, I even said this to my husband. I had a one-on-one consultation this year with someone, because practitioners need practitioners too. And I kept saying to my husband, we did not pay someone to come tell us what to do and to not do it. And that's the thing with this 12-month manifesting journey, or if you're a one-on-one client, it's like feng shui only works if you do it, right? So it's like you can take the class and watch the modules, but until you actually move the painting or try the invisible adjustment, it's not going to necessarily work. And that's why I kind of love this model. It's like you get all the feng shui adjustments, you can take your time with it. And then when we meet, it's like you're going to get exactly what you need in that moment, because life is going to happen, and you might just need something that's not in that module that month, or maybe you just need a friendly reminder of what's available to you. It's simple, but you just got to do it.
course, I think, my big word for this year is follow through. Like, to follow through, take action, and use your willpower to achieve all that you're set out to do. Because it's very easy to make a decision, because the decision stays in here. It's very 4D. We want to bring it into the 3D and to enhance all areas of our life.
100%. And I just want to share, like, I made a huge investment in myself. I just invested in a program that's 6 months. And so I am practicing what I preach. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to call people to like join me on a 12-month manifesting journey, I need to be willing to do something for myself too, and my self-improvement. Because I understand, like, I want to be in there with you, like, not like, oh, I've done this already. Like, it's like, here's the thing, like, Feng Shui is a practice, and you know what that means. Like, if you're meditating, you don't just meditate once and it's done. It's a meditation practice. You do a little bit every day. And you don't just brush your teeth once and you're good for the month. So that's kind of why I developed this, because it's like, it's a practice. So I'm practicing Feng Shui with you. And I just wanted to say, side note, I'm also elevating I'm also adding to my repertoire, and I'm also engaging in something like a 6-month container with a group of women and trying to better myself. So I totally am there with you. I know what it's like to like commit to something like that, but I also know that on the other side of it, that's where the magic happens. And I will just say, like, when it comes to feng shui, I feel like it's the best manifesting tool for money. Like, that's all I'll say. But like, the amount of money that people just, and I'm not just saying like little amounts, like people just having the best business years of their life through the program. And I feel like that's like one of the most rewarding aspects, is like seeing how things change in people's life. And when you're with someone for a whole 12 months, then you really get to see that, which is fun.
Absolutely. And I guess I'm constantly seeing your customers and your clients testimonials on your Instagram. And I think that's what drew me to you. It's like, wow, you're getting results. And it's not just a one-off, one person. You're getting this consistent like feedback through the results once they apply the processes and follow through with the action. And so that's really inspiring. And at the same time, you're walking the talk, and you're walking with your clients. You're not just saying, this is what you should do, I'm the dictator, good luck to you. Like, to see you holding their hand and going, yep, if you apply these principles, you're going to get the results. Allow me to show you how.
Did you see I just shared this recently. I had a story about so I had a feng shui consultation. My feng shui mentor came into town from Sarasota, Florida, and she had never been to our home. And I was like, Andy, that's my husband. I was like, we've got to have her come in. So one of the adjustments that she recommended was in our wealth area. My husband has his home office, and she recommended that we shift his desk so that he's in more of a command position and he'll see more money opportunities or clients or whatever. And she told us a lot of other things, and they were easy to apply. So I did all the easy stuff first, but we dragged our feet on the desk because that would require, reorganization, changing the wires, all the things. But finally, I just said, Andy, we have to make a decision. We either move the desk or we have to put up a mirror and like rearrange that. There were like 2 options that would optimize the space. So finally, he came around one day and he just said, let's just move it. So we did it. Inconvenienced, all the things, but it didn't matter because I always trust in feng shui. And I set my intention that my husband would be in the command position. And within 3 days, not even, I want to say it was 2 days, he got an $8,000 sale with over $2,500 commission. And it was like, that was just the beginning, right? Because it was like, that little shift, it was like, thank you, universe. Like that was just a little note saying, we see what you're trying to do here and the energy is going to support you. And that was like just the beginning. And so I like to share that story because that was really recent. That was in the last couple months. And just to your point, Natasha, it's like, yeah, I still practice feng shui. I'm still moving stuff around my house because it works, you know, and I'm just so grateful to have this practice to lean on. And I'm so grateful to be able to share it with you and your listeners. Thank you for having me here.
It's so inspiring, and I just hearing that story makes me it's so juicy, and just go like it's you know, of course it was effort to, you know, change and rewire and do all the things, but once you receive the result, you go, you'd be silly not to continue on this pathway. So it's amazing, and congratulations to you both. Now,
And honest, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
no, tell me.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, it's sometimes it took me a long time. I know you were noticing, like, you're like, oh, you're sharing all these results and all this. And I just shared a story that, like, honestly, 3 years ago, I would have probably been bashful and been like, oh, people are gonna think I'm braggadocious, and I don't want to do that. But I feel like it's actually of service to share specific wins with people because it just shows people the power, the manifesting power of feng shui. And my intention since 2012 has always been to share the manifesting wisdom. And you really can't spread the magic and spread the word if people don't really see that it's working. So thank you for listening. And I just want to also, like, I feel that, like, through feng shui, I built up my confidence to be able to share these kinds of stories. And I'm just grateful and celebrating that I can share those kinds of stories with you.
Absolutely.
So thanks for creating the space, you know.
Thank you. On that note, I've decided to start a new trend in 2024 with my podcast, where the previous or the person I'm interviewing asks a question for my next guest, not knowing who they're going to be. So I'd love for you I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm pretty sure you're up for the challenge. Can you provide me with a question that I will then ask my next guest on the podcast?
Yeah, that's really fun. So can it be something like specific, like you could ask your next guest what their sun sign is, their rising sign, and their south node, their north node. And how about their Venus sign if they know it?
Okay,
That
great.
might not be something they know, but wouldn't that be cool?
So cool. I'll share a little secret. I know that my next guest is going to be my husband.
Oh, good. So you can equip him with the information.
Make sure he does his homework.
Yeah, right. Hi, sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
All good.
It just like clicked out.
That's so weird.
All right. It was so weird, but I love that question that for your husband. I think it'll be fun. I want to listen now. I want to hear about it. And hopefully then you could share all of that information with everyone too. I want to hear about it.
Absolutely. Kristina, thank you so much for your time, your energy, your advice, your input, your tips. This has been so much fun. It's so practical. Can you let the listeners know how to find you, your website, your Instagram, your socials?
Yeah. So I'm Kristina with a K, KristinaHollinger.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. That's honestly where I'm the most active. But you'll find everything there, a free feng shui mini course and all sorts of goodies for you. Super cool to meet everyone today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Kristina, and all the best for 2024.
All right, same to you, Natasha.
Thank you so much. Wherever you're listening from, if you can give us a review and a 5-star rating, that would be so helpful in supporting this podcast. If this episode lights you up and inspires you, then please make sure that you share this podcast and make sure that you tag me on Instagram. I am beyond grateful and so blessed to call this work. It just means so much. Together, we will learn and grow. Staying anchored in your heart means staying anchored to your humanity. All my love, Natasha.